Oh, Fellas and Warren up there. Look at this. Oh, okay. Here comes Jeff. Merle is back in Scottsdale. There's Harold. Come on in, everybody. Come on in.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Oh, good morning. It's not morning. It's not even morning in Las Vegas. It's now afternoon, Jeff. It is now afternoon.
As long as we're all not mourning, M-O-U-R-N.
Oh, yeah. Really? Wow.
The 26th, I'm here in Las Vegas. In Los Angeles. I just completed all of my clearances, so surgery is the 26th.
Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Phew, good.
Say Misha Barak for me eventually.
I absolutely will.
Appreciate that.
All right, everybody's in. Let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so everybody, those of you who are here, we're just gonna jump right in. I want to be respectful of your time. This is a cuckoo Torah portion, but before we get into this Torah portion, let's do our blessing for the study of Torah as we soak ourselves in Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah, that we may be soaked in Torah, getting busy with the Torah. Amen ve'amen. All right. This Torah portion, this is Nasso. First of all, this is actually the longest Torah portion there is in the Torah. The longest Torah portion that there is in the Torah. And it comes right after Shavuot. It's like, hey, we're so excited to get the Torah. Now we're going to go read the longest Torah portion that there is. So just like to jump on that excitement and happiness, you're just going to see what that. But, when this Torah portion is 99 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, I think when people write about this Torah portion, it's rarely about two main things, and it's usually about two other things, right? They'll write about these two kind of cuckoo things, but the other things they write about, lifting up one's head in the census, right? Lifting up one's head in the census is instead of counting someone, lisbo, right? It's nasso tarosh, right? To lift up one's head. So people talk about that idea. Then later on, which we will talk about, we have here the priestly blessing, the priestly benediction, right? Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. We have that, this thing that would be blessing. We also have some kind of magic voodoo stuff going on. And we also have some extreme, maybe I shouldn't use that word, but I will, quote unquote, extreme promises that are made. And you're like, why are you, I'm speaking in this generalization. We're going to jump right into the text, but I just wanted to throw that out there. All right. So I am going to, if you don't mind, share my screen. Here we go. Oh, that's not the one that I wanted to show you. Let's see. Let's share. Let's do this. Share again. This to show you. This one. All right, let's see. Oh, I think you do see the right one. What do you see on your screen? Do you see where it says Nasso?
Yeah.
Anybody? Yes. All right, great. Okay. So I jumped ahead. In this Torah portion, we talk a lot about taking a census, a very specific census, right, in the distribution of jobs in both the construction of the tabernacle and the movement of the tabernacle and the jobs within the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and all those kind of things. We're going to jump past that, and we're going to jump right into these things that actually there's book of Talmud it talks about something called sota, which is a lot of, which is very interesting, kind of Salem witch trial stuff, if you will. A little bit of magic. And what do I mean by that? There's a long section here, but I just want to read it. And I want this to kind of soak in what is going on here. And then I'm going to ask somebody to kind of summarize what's going on. But I'm just going to go for the read real quick. The Lord spoke to Moses saying, speak to the Israelite people and say to them, get ready. If any man's wife has gone astray and broken faith with him, in that a man has had carnal relations with her unbeknown to her husband, and she keeps secret the fact that she has defiled herself without being forced, and there is no witness against her, but a fit of jealousy. Here's the key right here. But a fit of jealousy comes over him, and he is wrought up about the wife who has defiled herself. Or if a fit of jealousy comes over one and he is wrought up about his wife, although she has not defiled herself, the man shall bring his wife to the priest, and he shall bring as an offering for her 1/10 of an ephah of barley, no oil. Okay, like talking about some of the specifics of the what you're bringing to the offering. But then we're gonna look at, this is the part right here. Number 16, the priest shall bring her forward and have her stand before the Lord. Now, before we get into what comes next, what's going on here, which I find very interesting. What's going on here? Anybody kind of just sum it up for us right here real quickly?
That was it. No, just
Who can sum that up for us? I can do it. Okay, I can do it, Rabbi Eshel. Great. All right, fine. I'll call on myself. So this has to do, if a man suspects that his wife has cheated and he becomes super jealous, regardless if the adultery actually happened, regardless if it happened, if the man is jealous about something, he can accuse her and go to the priests, right? If she did it, he's jealous, he's going to the priest. If she did it, but he doesn't even know, he just has this kind of fit of jealousy. Like, I saw her at the market talking to that market guy, and I did not like the way they were discussing the tomatoes. Right? I did not like that. He gets jealous, he can bring her in front of the priest and say, and how does one actually figure out if the woman actually committed adultery? It's not asking questions. It's not doing any kind of investigation. No. You ready to see? How does one actually prove if somebody has committed adultery? And it's just women, not the men. It's just women. Get ready. I'm going to share this with you. Here we go. The Lord priest shall bring her forward and have her stand, or the priest shall bring her forward and have her stand in front of the Lord. The priest shall take sacral water in an earthen vessel and take some of the earth that is on the floor of the tabernacle. The priest shall put it into the water. So I'm going to get a cup of water. I'm going to get some dirt from the floor. I'm going to put it in the cup.
Yeah.
After he has made the woman stand before the Lord, the priest shall bear the woman's head and place upon her hands the meal offering remembrance, which is the meal offering of jealousy. And in the priest's hand shall be the water of bitterness that induces the spell.
Hello.
That induces the spell, right? And I'm just looking at the Hebrew. Yeah, it's all about this magic, the spell. The priest shall adjourn the woman, saying to her,
1 second.
No, if no man has lain with you, if you have not gone astray in defilement while married to your husband, be immune to the harm from this water of bitterness that induces the spell. But If you have gone astray while married to your husband and have defiled yourself, if a man other than your husband has carnal relations with you, here the priest shall administer the curse of adjuration to the woman. As the priest goes on to say to the woman, may the Lord make you a curse and an imprecation among your people, as the Lord causes your thigh to sag and your belly to distend. And the woman shall say, Amen, Amen. What does this sound like? What does this sound like? Who could tell me? What does this sound like? Who could sum this up for me? What does this sound like? Merle, what do you got?
It's, I don't know, somehow to me it sounds like they're making an assumption, and this is the punishment that they've decided she has to have for their assumption.
It's not even a punishment yet. This is not punishment.
It's like, this is what will happen based on the assumption. I guess you have to tell whether you, the woman, have to say whether you did this or not, and who believes you or not.
What did they do in the Salem witch trials? When they burned these people at the stake, if they burned up, it was like, oh, I guess they weren't a witch. But if they didn't burn up, oh, you're a witch.
So that's the assumption, is what this dirty water is going to do to you.
Yeah, that
if the spell works.
If the spell works, that your thighs will sag and your stomach will distend. So it's like, what is actually even going on here? And what is so interesting in the continued research about this is that this practice was never really put into practice as these people move forward once entering the land, and then they're like in the time of the rabbis with the Talmud. That the reason why that there's books and books and books and books and books written about this thing here, this idea, is because it's like, yeah, it's in there and it's strange, and it goes back to the fact, like, if everything is supposed to be ordained by God and written by God, and this is the word of God, what are we supposed to do with this situation where it just seems so strange and weird for us to work with, that it's just not a thing? In a progressive understanding, you could be like, this is ridiculous, I'm just gonna, put it to the side, right? But in a traditional understanding where every word is supposed to be meaningful, you can't just get rid of parts that you don't like. What do you do with it? You make it as difficult as possible to have this practice put into place, right? This is a common practice among the rabbis, like of the Talmud. What do you do with difficult texts? For example, this idea of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, or putting people to death and capital punishment, right? It's in there. We cannot get rid of it. That's just not a thing that we can do. So we need to figure out a way to make it as difficult as possible to not do it, right? For example, in capital punishment, well, there needs to be a witness of a witness, and they had to have been in a certain place and knew this person in a certain way in order to be a witness and to say that they did actually kill this person or murder this person. And then it has to happen. The judgment can only happen if we have a certain number of people to make the judgment, and it has to actually happen within a few hours of the day, right? Making it nearly impossible to go through with what you are, quote unquote, legally or divinely allowed to do.
Rabbi?
Right? Yes.
Couldn't it be the threat of going through this was supposed to be a deterrent also?
Of course. What do you think, Phil? What do you think?
Yes.
So, but it's like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because what did we say? It's the woman could even just have been done nothing wrong.
Well,
But it's the jealousy of the husband that can bring upon this whole mishugas.
to me, it's standard misogyny and giving men freedom to do whatever they want to what is considered property, basically.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yes, correct. So go back then to your first point of deterrent. Deterrent of what?
Is this? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Phyllis.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I muted you, Merle. That was an accident. God forbid I should try and silence you. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Is I know where you live.
Yeah.
Is this? I mean, going along with what Phyllis just said, is this written in here to make men in those days, or in any days, make them look more powerful, or that they can control everything?
That's already an assumption. That's already a given, right? What we just did prior to this, was the counting of when we say take a census of the people. It's not take a census of the people. Take a census of these men between the ages of 30 and 50 who could do a job, and then we're going to count up this number, right? Look, so this is not a unique thing. Like, I'm just one more thing. I'm going to get you. One more thing. I'm going to get you. This is yet another way of I don't know, of some kind of magic. I don't know. It's a very strange thing to me to say like this is going to be the test. This is going to be what's going to happen, rather than doing an investigation, and nowhere here does it talk about what happens to the person who the woman supposedly had an affair with, right? Nothing happens to him or her or whatever. Nothing happens to this other person. It's only the wife. Nowhere in this section does it talk about it. It just talks about, well, if the husband is jealous, regardless if she did anything wrong, drink this thing, and if your hips sag and your stomach distends, guilty. So, maybe this person has a really strong stomach and did commit adultery, but you have the drink and then nothing happens. Douglas, you unmuted. Go.
I was just thinking that's sort of the philosophy of our current society. I mean, a rape is always the woman's fault. She seduced him or dressed provocatively or whatever.
Yeah. See, you make a very good point that even though this seems so cuckoo to us, right? It really plays out. Things haven't really changed to an extent, right? Things haven't really changed to an extent. I was just Douglas, you just brought this up. So I was just reading today on CNN. A woman from Kansas has called her own grand jury. There is a law in Kansas that dates back to the 1800s that if a citizen feels that the county prosecutor is not taking his or her case seriously, and there is evidence to the contrary, that they are allowed to call their own grand jury. It's from 1800. It hasn't been touched since the 1800s, but this very smart woman, found this and called her own grand jury to talk about this exact thing where consensual relationship turned into rape, where she wasn't able to use her voice to say stop, things were changed because of the nature. I mean, I'm not going to go into that, but the nature of the thing. But even today, where if she is at the whim of the prosecutor, whether or not the prosecutor as an individual thinks that there's any merit to her case. And so here she is, right, with this law in Kansas, which was amazing. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to open the text again. Yaakov, good to see you. Is that a real background or is that a fake background? That's, wow. I need to send you some art. All right, here we are. He is to make the woman drink the bitterness that induces the spell, so that the spell-inducing water may enter into her to bring on bitterness. Then the priest shall take from the woman's hand the meal offering, the jealousy, elevate the meal offering for the Lord, and present it on the altar. The priest shall scoop out of the... Now, it keeps going, it keeps going, it keeps going, right? Now I'm on 28. But if the woman has not defiled herself and is pure, she shall be unharmed and able to retain seed. This is the ritual in case of jealousy, when a woman goes astray while married to her husband and defiles herself, or, and this is the big or, when a fit of jealousy comes over a man and he is wrought up over his wife, the woman shall be made to stand before the Lord, and the priest shall carry out this ritual with her. Has nothing to do, right, with whether or not it actually happened, but it has everything to do with the jealousy of a husband, which is just, and it speaks to Douglas's point, as the whim, jealousy, or word of the male in this situation. Okay, we're going to keep going. Unless there's questions. Natalie, you have a question? Was that a hand or are you just thinking? No question. No question. All right. Now we're going to jump into a new thing. This is so interesting. The Nazarites. The Nazarites. Have you heard of these people or this idea? Nazarite Vow. Have you heard about this? All right. Well, check this out. I'm going to read this. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, if any man or woman explicitly utters a Nazarite's vow to set himself apart for the Lord, boom, he shall abstain from wine and any other intoxicant. He shall not drink vinegar of wine or of any other intoxicant, neither shall he drink anything in which grapes have been steeped, nor eat grapes fresh or dried." All right, let's stop right there for a second. What is going on here? This is the Nazarite vow, right? The Nazarite vow was a vow that people made if they are feeling super guilty about something, they've witnessed something that has quote unquote defiled them, if after offering other kinds of sacrifices, it still does not help them get over any challenges that they were having. It is a vow that lifts one up as if they were priests in proximity or closeness to God for a set amount of time. It can be one day, it can be a year. The accepted understanding of the amount of time was 30 days. Now, in this 30 days, you are supposed to keep yourself from anything that was considered pleasurable, if you will, or something that, like the intoxicant. Why do they drink? It's like the gladness or joy of the person. You need to abstain from these kind of things. Nothing. No, you can't hang out with the grapes because the grapes could turn to wine and that's going to, gladness and joy. No, you need to just sit there and focus on yourself, which is also very interesting specifically because of the next thing that happens here. You'll see this. It says, "Tuxid, he shall not drink drink anything in which grapes have even been steeped, nor eat grapes fresh or dried." Nothing to do with the grapes. Throughout his term as Nazarite, he may not eat anything that is obtained from the grapevine, even seeds or skin. Meaning you stay away from any possibility of gladness and joy. There might even, not even a dried raisin, nothing. Throughout the term of his vow as a Nazarite, now here, check this one out. No razor shall touch his head. It shall remain consecrated until the completion of his term as Nazarite of the Lord, the hair of his head being left to grow untrimmed. Now, this is also, you become a Nazarite when you make a plea, a real plea to God for something, right? Samson, Shimshon, you heard the story of Samson, you heard about him with his luscious locks, right? His luscious locks. Yes, Benjamin, the luscious locks. Are you showing us your luscious locks? It's good. Fabulous. I used to have luscious locks. I used to have fabulous Jew fro, really big and curly. Not anymore.
You look great. You look great,
Thank,
Rabbi.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Appreciate that. Samson was a Nazarite. Why? Because his mother prayed and wished for a child. And that child, when she actually became pregnant, that child was dedicated to God in this way as a Nazarite. That's why he had the long hair. That's why I said, so when males utter a Nazarite vow, they are not allowed to cut their hair. It just has to grow. It has to grow. It has to grow. But then when they cut it, it's like the hair is actually the dedication to God, because when he cuts the hair, it doesn't just like throw it away. He has to offer the hair on the altar as a sacrifice. And then they burn up the hair. Nasty. Yeah. This like temple Judaism, this sacrificial Judaism, is smelly. It's gross, right? With all the animals and the hair, it's all just, you think about it. The way we do Judaism now, it's much cleaner, smells much better. Smells much better. You don't have to. All right. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna keep reading. Move over here. It shall remain throughout the term that he has set apart for the Lord. He shall not go in where there is a dead person, because you might defile yourself from a dead person, even if this dead person is your family, right? If it's like a parent or a sibling, you can't go and be there with that person. You can't go through the ritual of burying and taking care of the body and burying. You can't do it. If you do, even accidentally, like you just happen to be walking by and you like, oops, right? There's a funeral procession right by you. You got to start all over again. Whatever hair you've got growing, you've got to shave off. You got to put it on the altar. You got to start again. It's as if, oh man, I messed that one up. If a person dies suddenly near him, defiling his consecrated hair, he shall, see, it's the hair. It's like messing up your hair. He shall shave his head on the day he becomes clean. He shall shave it on the 7th day. And on the 8th day, he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons to the priest. The priest shall offer one as keep going. The previous, we're right over here. The previous period shall be void, since his consecrated hair was defiled. It's all about the hair. This is the ritual for the Nazarite. On the day that his term as a Nazarite is completed, he shall be brought to the entrance of the tent of meeting. As his offering to the Lord, he shall present one male. So now, once your time is up, you have all these other things that you need to bring in. And this just goes into the details of what those things are. Okay, so this is very interesting. This idea of real, what's the word? Real self-denial. Real self-denial. Does this sound familiar to anybody? This idea of real self-denial, and it's something that we all do all the time. Yeah, Yaakov, what you got?
Well, it actually sounds like a Catholic priest.
Oh, tell me, how so?
Well, they can't do anything. They just have to be, they can't marry. They can't, yeah, they deny themselves so they could be vessels for God.
Fascinating. I didn't really think about it that way. That's not where I was going, but I like that. But it's also something that all of us do every year in one form or another. Does anybody know what that is?
Yom Kippur.
Ah, Yom Kippur. Yes, on Yom Kippur, right? Where we are to deny ourselves any kind of worldly, earthly pleasure of some sort, right? No wine, you're not supposed to drink, not supposed to eat, you're not supposed to shave, you're not supposed to even brush your teeth. No brushing your teeth, nothing. Complete self-denial where you can just focus on your devotion to God. We've talked about what else that could mean, but in relationship to the Nazarites, this is a parallel that is often made, right? That this is often made a complete kind of self-denial and only focusing on one's relationship to God. Questions? Concern? Yes, Merle.
I got it. Okay, so because does a Nazarite and a Kohen, where a Kohen is not supposed to go to a funeral or be in the presence of a dead body or anything. I mean, I was told when Mother died that I shouldn't, because I'm a Kohen, I shouldn't be going near her or at her funeral.
Who told you that?
Somebody who thinks they're very religious.
Okay.
You don't know them and you don't want to know them.
Okay, fine. Douglas, what are you drinking
I was there,
over there?
you saw me there.
Wait. Time out. Douglas, what are you drinking over there? Look at that. Here we're talking about, drinking the wine, and he's got this massive mug of Budweiser or something. I don't know. Not just, it's awesome. We all should get cups like that.
I don't drink, it's coffee.
All right, yeah. Just like there's coffee in here.
Right. Well, you have to go deal with the kids in school. You need that.
You're not wrong. Sorry, Merle. I interrupted
no, that's
you. I
okay,
apologize.
I'm okay. So I'm thinking of this whole Nazarite thing.
Yes,
and
you're
I'm
absolutely
thinking
right.
Of what people have said that a Kohen is not allowed to do, because then you won't be pure if you do it.
That is correct. So that the whole purpose is that everybody has the opportunity, if you make this vow, to lift yourselves to the level, I mean, this is all in quotes, right? To lift yourself to the level of holiness and connectedness as a priest. So Yaakov, you're also not, I guess that your example also holds true. It's like, this is an opportunity for you to become priestly, if you will, right? If we're going to make that analogy as a Catholic priest or whatnot, as the Kohanim, the Jewish priests of the temple, having this elevated status, as being the vessels, the way that God communicates through and everything like that, which is very interesting because that's going to lead us to Penina's here. She's late. Penina's late. It's going to lead us to our next discussion. So I'm going to continue unless we have some more quotes or comments about these Nazarites. No, fabulous. All right, so now we're going to jump into something that is I think very very much known by many of you. Let's just bring it down here. We can put it on its own page. Right here. This is known as the priestly blessing. The priestly blessing. That is said when we bless children on their bar mitzvah, a wedding couple under the chuppah, a baby at its naming or its brit milah or its naming, on Shabbat when we bless our children and our families. It's always done with this blessing, right? The Lord spoke to Moses, speak to Aaron and his sons, and say to them, get ready for this. Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yechuneka. May the Lord deal kindly and graciously with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. The Lord bestow his favor upon you and grant you peace. Thus they shall link my, meaning God's name, with the people of Israel, and I will bless them. All right, here is my question. Let's stop this right here. Why do we think God needed to go to Aaron and the priests and have the priests say this to the people? Why do we need an intermediary? Why can't God just go to the people and say, may you be blessed? Why do we need that intermediary here?
Because we don't see God. We've never seen God.
Have we not? Okay, what do you mean by that?
Well, that God isn't supposed to be visible. God just has people, Moses for an example, do God's work for him. When that we don't, we have an imaginary thing in our head of what God might look like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Lisa, thank you, Merle. You're muted.
Hi, sorry about that. I'm not tech perfect.
No problem. What that happens to me 3, 4, 5 times a day. What do you?
Okay. This is actually something I wanted to say before about the jealousy thing, but if it's going to derail,
okay, bring it.
if it's going to derail your point, I can say it later.
I don't know if I have a point, so let's see what happens.
Well, I was thinking that because that sounded so, as you said at the beginning, cuckoo, the whole portion, that maybe the issue had to do with the jealousy. If the man gets jealous, that's the problem. That the jealousy is the problem, even if the woman did something or she didn't do something. Maybe it's trying to talk about the negativity of the trait of being jealous, regardless of what went on.
That is so interesting. So okay. Yeah, let's hit on that for a second, then we'll go back to this idea, because what I hear you say, and that's I think that is very Talmudic and rabbinic of you to say.
Well, can I say something? My great grandfather was a Hasidic Orthodox rabbi, and I have a painting of him here. So maybe something came through the water. I don't know.
That maybe this is a play on the 10th commandment of thou shalt not covet, or don't be jealous of what other people saying to you. Don't be jealous, because if you're jealous, look what you're going to put your wife through. Don't do that to her. Look at what you're going to. So, I like that. You're saying, this is here. How am I going to deal with this piece right here? Maybe what I'm saying is, don't do this to your wife. Don't get jealous, regardless of what she did or not. If you get jealous, look what you're going to put her through. Nobody needs to put anybody through that. Standing in front of the priest, drinking cuckoo water and making your stuff get all crazy.
Seems like it makes more sense in also the way the lessons come through the Torah. Like it's not going to be 2 + 2 = 4. They're not going to give it to you so easy. You got to figure it out.
That's for sure. I like that. So that plays into the traditional understanding of like, it's here. I got to deal with it. I can't just get rid of it. It's here. Maybe. Okay, I'm gonna go Jeff and then Pnina. And then Yaakov, and then Phyllis. Okay, thank you, Lisa. Look what you did. I love it. All right. We're gonna go Jeff, Pnina, Yaakov, Phyllis. Jeff.
2 points. Number one, the society of that time in Israel was probably the most misogynist time ever in history, as far as the absolute need for control by men over women. Why? I don't have the explanation. It should have been a much more equal and balanced society, but it was not. And that was the example from the entire Middle Eastern countries. All of them in the surrounding area had a similar misogynist society of men over women. Unfortunately, we weren't smart enough to alter that behavior, or in the instructions given to us, that wasn't referenced. Maybe God's a little misogynist himself, I don't know. Second point is, as far as the people and society of that time and the ability to ordinate and control, the priests had to remain in the middle of that discussion. They had to be the controlling factor since there were no prophets, and they needed a judging system, and the only system that existed was the priesthood. And the priesthood really became the controlling interest in society, even over the chieftains of each of the 12 tribes. They were the reference point and the controlling issue. And unfortunately, people rail against that a little bit, especially the Jews as a people, the characteristics of independence and my own self-importance, so to speak. But maybe that's a skewed picture, but you know, I'm afraid it still exists today, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. All right, he says something very interesting. I'm gonna, when I get to my other point, if we got time, I'm gonna add a little something together. Okay, we said Jeff. Now, Pnina.
Okay, I come from a little bit more positive point of view.
Thank you. I always count on you for that.
Okay, they just came out of Egypt. This is what they were used to. The priest controlled over there too. They used to frighten the people with fire coming out of places and sacrifices and everything.
Watch out, the fire coming out of places.
And there is a reason why this blessing is being said on Friday night when the parents put their hands on the heads of their children.
All right.
And they say, Yevarchecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. They needed security. They needed to be feeling safe. They're in a journey. They mean he was the leader at the time. Okay. Joshua, before that, Aaron, Moses, whatever. They're supposed to have a little bit of a security blanket, of and the courage to go into a place that they don't know. When they left Egypt, only 70 people went down. Jacob's family, 70. Came out 600,000 of people that were used to all the Egyptian customs and rituals and threats and being slaves. And it wasn't Jewish. They weren't Hebrews. There were all kinds of people. And here they are, they got the 10 Commandments. It's a guideline, how to live, how to form a new society. It's a positive thing. Not a jealousy. It's self-assurance. It's to give them security that God will lead them, that he's going to give them a new country, a place where they can be free. The sentence, "Ukratem dror ba'aretz lekol yoshvea," thou shalt declare liberty throughout the world, throughout the universe. They had a mission. They were supposed to start a new society that will be forgiving, that will be sometimes maybe even vindictive, but it's going to be a new thing. And the guideline was the 10 Commandments. And this is
Beautiful.
also a part of the way to live. And be sure that God will guide you and he'll be with you. They needed it. Not that Joshua, I don't know what he taught, right? I wasn't there. But they needed like a father that can say to somebody, God will watch over you. You can do that.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And this is where I think they came from. Wherever
Thank
they
you,
came
Penina.
later, that's another thing. That's history. I can find all kinds of reasons for things that happened in the 20th century that people think shouldn't have happened, but they did happen. And sometimes they happen because whoever made them happen was right. So, or sometimes wrong. But I think it was just simple, very simple. It was an assurance. It was to instill self-confidence. That's all.
Beautiful. Thank you, Penina. Yaakov.
Can you repeat the question? Because I had my answer and now it's been, so you're
Well,
saying,
no,
why
wait,
is
which one
God
are you?
an intermediary?
Oh, okay. Why the intermediary? Why? Because what is so interesting about this here, and let me just add a little. Yaakov, never mind. You go.
Well, I was going to say, when it comes to law, if everyone can interpret God, then there'll be a lot of arguments. Whereas if there's an intermediary or one person that is this spokesperson that is human, if you're going to get spiritualist with it, but that there's a human form, then that's the authority.
Great. So here, I want to add a little new. No, go ahead, Phyllis. You're right. You
So
go.
I see it as potentially God saying, you can bless people, but you have to bless people in my name. And it can't be the Kohanim who the blessing is coming from God and not from the Kohanim. And I think that was an important distinction to make.
Fascinating. So
Good.
I want add a little nuance to it. And this is what I really find beautiful. This is very personal, right? This is it's very individual. It's saying specifically, may God bless you and keep you
Safe.
in the singular, right? In the singular. And it's coming not from Moses. It's Aaron and the priests were spreading it out to people to be doing this individual, even though it may be like I'm doing it collectively, but I'm really speaking to you as the individual. Let's go back a little while ago. When we talked about in the holiness code, where we are told to be holy, right? Be holy human beings, be holy, right? Where God doesn't say, tell Aaron to go tell Aaron's sons and the priests to go out and tell everybody, be holy, you as an individual. It's God tells Moses to tell the people, be holy as a collective. Kedoshim tihiyu, ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. You all be holy. So here we are, they're talking about this idea of holiness, bigness, goodness, and we talked all about what holiness could even be. And now, right, we're moving to this other thing. Hey, may God bless you and keep you safe, right? And I think, Natalie, go. And then I'll finish my point. Go, Natalie. You're muted.
You finish your point first, please.
Okay, I'll finish my point first. And then you. So I think it's no coincidence that we do the placing of the hands, because it's like when you place the hand on the children or the couple, you are adding that sense of safety, security, warmth, understanding that you are being taken care of as an individual, as somebody unique who has purpose and meaning. You're not just lumped into a collective, which is, I should say maybe lumped in sounds a little negative, but no, because it's also very important, being part of this group, knowing that holiness depends on all of us together. And at the same time, even understanding that holiness, it depends on all of us together. Together means it's made up of individuals who need to also be nurtured and taken care of and blessed and put the hands on. That just feels really safe and warm and fabulous. Natalie.
Oh, well, the way I read this and see this is it's a perfect control technique that has been used with parents and schools and giving birth to babies, where you have the good nurse and the bad nurse, and in the school where you have the strict teacher who is going to be down on you, and then you love this teacher if she just smiles. So here I see all these punishments. We're going to punish you for this. We're going to punish you for that. You better not do this. I mean, God is really strict, and you don't fool with him. You are getting terrible punishments from God. He's not a sweet, good, kind God. He is telling you that you better follow his rules or you're going to be punished. And if you follow them, he will love you. He will bless you. He will be good to you. Think about that in all of our lives. That is the control technique that is been going on forever. And here it's in the extreme.
Yeah, Natalie, remember you're supposed to come over to my house to help me with my kids.
I know the same thing with your little boys.
not my son. My son, not at all. It's
Why
the
in
other
the
one. It's the
blessing
real
is peace
cuddly
the
son.
first word for you?
Well, it still plays on that. I think that's really good. And Natalie, let me share something else that's so interesting. That the Rashi says, why does the Nazarite vow and this whole thing come directly after this whole portion about the jealousy and the putting you in? If you do this, and you're going with the spells, and I'm going to the water, and you say. And Rashi says it's because if there's even a hint of that, you've done wrong against God. You need to make a vow and come close to me. Give up all these good things, because what you did was wrong. So you better fix it. And then after you fixed it, then I'm going to give you this lovely blessing and say, peace.
Right.
Hug
and I often think of what happened with Jesus. Now, he was a loving God. He's just telling you he loves you all the time. You just have to believe him. He's not punishing you. So you can see how the religions broke out from one to the other, how much easier it was to accept this other religion where you didn't have so many rules. It's really amazing how we have continued on the way we have to this day with everything. That's the amazing thing to me.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to go, Jeff, and then Lisa's going to bring us home. Jeff, make it tight. Make it tight, Jeff. Make it tight. Go.
Well, the idea that the blessings reference human emotional status. Peace is the encompassing word. It usually means not physical peace in the sense of war, but peace internally. Peace as a human.
Amen.
That this is the most important value that God puts on people's interactions, that they can survive in peace with each other. And the idea that in Christianity, you were just referenced Jesus. The difference is we earn every day through mitzvahs our merit.
Right.
In Christianity, it doesn't seem to be an issue in your daily lives, but only at the end, if you say you accept certain elements, then you're meritorious and go on. It's a problem for me in that the lifestyle can run amok and you can still be, quotes, saved at the end and kind with God. We earn our justice as we go through life, and believe that that's the separation between.
That's the hope.
Yeah, that you
That's the hope.
you end up, in a place where hopefully you've merited enough values to be considered worthy by God for whatever he gives you subsequent to this life, if there is such a thing. And for me to say
Great.
something like that from where I come from, that's saying a lot,
And what you're going through now as well.
having held life and death in my own hands, it's a different approach to all of the theosophy that we talk about. So that's just me. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jeff. Don't apologize. Lisa, bring
No,
us home.
Sure. I just wanted to say that it's interesting, the comments that Natalie made about that this God is not a nice God. This God is a punishing God, because I don't see it that way. And I relate it to, for example, like I think about this a lot, the way I was raised versus the way my niece and nephew were raised, in that the coddling that goes on now with kids, the concept is coddle, 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 they'll be
Indulgence is
fine.
destructive.
And versus the times that I've ever grown the most, whether it's been my parents or teachers, or I'm a dancer, so dance teachers were always, when they said what they would say to me in some way, you have abilities, you have talent, step up, do your work. I just had a conversation because I tutor kids, and the kid wanted me to feed him the whole essay, right? This is a kid that just finished 2 years of Georgetown University. This is not an idiot. This is not an uneducated person. But the concept is their parents can pay for it, so give me the answers.
Yeah,
and I said to him, no, do your work. The best answer is your answer. I said, I'll look at the writing, but I'm not going to, after 2 years of Georgetown University, I didn't say this to him, but like, if you can't write a 3-paragraph essay, you got a problem. You got a problem. Okay. That's one of the best schools in the country. Plus, before that, 12 years of private school in LA, and I won't mention which school, but one of the big, fancy, extremely expensive ones. So I don't see God as being mean. I see God as saying, this is what I need from you. Step up.
So that's why I think I'm going to invite Lisa and Natalie over to my house. Because I don't know, Douglas has got his fancy cup. Ellen had her red cup. I don't know what's going on. But, Lisa and Natalie, they're coming over to help me with a little work. So with that, let me say Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Well done,
Shabbat Shalom.
everybody.
Thank you.
So
This was
fabulous to
wonderful.
see
This was a
everybody.
lot of fun. Thank you very
Jeff,
much.
good
Bye.
luck with everything.
Bye.
Yeah,
Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah,
Shabbat
Jeff.
Shalom, everybody.
Hope your surgery goes well, Jeff.
Amen.
I'm on the works for the 26th, and hopefully I'll survive to the 27th. We'll see.
I think you
Shalom.
will.
I
Nice
hope
to
All
meet
so.
right.
everybody.
Take care.
I'm mean enough to make it. That's all I can tell you.
You will.
All
You've
right.
got everybody on your side.
And I appreciate every kind thought. So all, thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye, everybody.